Hola, ¿qué tal? Les saluda Jonathan Mejia. I'm one of 12 students from Northeastern University School of Journalism. We're here to report on life, art, and culture in Cuba. And something that is shifting the culture here in Cuba is the introduction of 3G mobile internet. The internet is something we all take for granted back home, but here in Cuba, it's new technology, and it's changing the way of life for many Cubans. Diolbis Gonzalez is a taxi driver for Sube, an Uber-like application for Cubans.
Socio, ¿dónde queda la cámara oscura?
Until this year, Cubans didn't even have regular access to the internet, which was only available by the hour through prepaid Wi-Fi cards. But the ability to connect to the internet from your phone without a Wi-Fi card arrived on the island in December in the form of 3G internet package available on phones.
Nunca pensé que esto funcionaría sin... Y entonces con los datos móviles ha sido perfecto.
Sube is a taxi app that 4 Cuban developers founded to make transportation in Cuba easier.
Por ejemplo, en la mañana, en horario pico, se dice aquí en Cuba, en la mañana y en la tarde es un poco difícil el transporte.
It works a lot like Uber. A passenger requests a ride on their phone. But unlike Uber, the driver prices a ride right away, and the customer decides whether to accept.
El 3G en Cuba mejoró la comodidad de las personas, pero yo opino que aún el Wi-Fi en los parques es un poco más rápido que el 3G.
Widespread internet access is impacting people all throughout the island. Students now use the internet to help them in their studies.
Cuando me mandan algo aquí en la escuela, lo utilizo mucho para buscar alguna tarea. Es una forma más rápida de encontrar las cosas.
Many Cubans say the cost is too much for the quality of service they get. 600 megabytes of data cost 7 cucs, or about $7. 4 gigabytes cost 30 cucs, which is $30, the average monthly wage. People will have to decide to spend their money on getting internet or means of survival.
Muchas personas $10 no los van a gastar para conectarse a Facebook, ellos los van a gastar en algo de comer. Hay personas que no tienen ni para gastarlos en algo de comer.
3G is about more than internet access. Here in Regla, a district in Havana, it provided a lifeline for residents after a tornado touched down in January.
Nadie esperaba esto, la guagua se viró, todo era enorme, muy enorme.
Residents of Regla are still recovering and rebuilding from the destruction the tornado left behind. The internet has been an important tool for letting people outside of Regla understand what happened.
Que estoy viva de milagro, yo fui golpeada, fui hospitalizada, verdad que el país me ayudó en todo y aquí estamos vivas. Sí, puedes subir, ver como todo se te desbarata. Ver como todo, yo tengo 58 años, ver todo lo que se haya desbaratado, fogón, cocina, frío, televisor, cama, pared.
Like Dinora Espinosa, because of the internet and social media, many in the Regla community have received help. No matter how big or small the donation may be, everything is appreciated.
Nosotros comemos de todo. Y en un momento así no se mira lo que tú vas a comer, sino lo que tú puedes tener.
It doesn't matter if you're a taxi driver, a student, or a resident from a tornado-stricken community. The mobile internet is changing the way of life for many Cubans. 3G is cutting-edge technology here on the island, but Cubans have always maintained a strong connection to the ocean. There are long stretches of pristine reefs here, defying the pressure of rising ocean temperatures and acidity, leaving scientists asking how and why.
Not a lot of divers can come to Havana and dive, let alone see the reefs that are more or less not experiencing the bleaching events that we're seeing in other parts of the world.
Ready and raring? See what we see?
It's very hard to get down to these areas, particularly Havana. This is like the hardest of hard places to get into, to be able to observe and to respect.
Strong, my ear. Boat, shark, danger. Yeah. Just what I need is to get hit by a car wearing a tank.
Just felt like we were speaking a different kind of universal language And that's what's great about diving, is that the signals don't change across countries. We know what we're saying underwater. Going out initially, I was really looking for biodiversity, because that's all I heard coming into this experience, was that coral reefs here in Cuba are incredibly pristine, in that the coral reefs themselves would be not bleached. There'd be diversity of coral species. We're trying to understand more about these reefs so we can protect our own reefs in the Caribbean in areas like Florida.
He's gonna see plenty of different types of urchin, of sponges, lots of snapper, a fish from the snapper family. He's gonna see stingrays. What else? Lobster for sure. Moray eels, the green one and the spotted ones.
First, the diversity was pretty low, but as we went out, there were soft corals and a mixture of that with fan corals, rain corals, so that's good. We want more biodiversity. No sharks, unfortunately, but, and I'm sure Pedro can tell, we had a remora, the sucker fish, who was trying to hitch a ride with me.
Son unos animales que se adhieren al tiburón y van comiendo de las bacterias o...
Okay, it's a fish that attaches itself and starts to eat the material.
Have you seen anything in the environment change since you've been diving here?
Sí, ha cambiado porque debido a las inclemencias del tiempo,
The climate change has affected.
las penetraciones del mar, deteriora los arrecifes coralinos. Cuando hay ciclones o fuertes penetraciones del mar, se deterioran los arrecifes coralinos, se rompen las esponjas.
How far has the water level gone during a storm here?
A veces alrededor de 50 metros más hay agua en toda la calle y aquí puede estar el agua.
In spite of being right next to the capital, this reef, it's really well preserved because there are no industries polluting around here. So fish and all the fish and all the plants, algae, sponges, they're all in very good conditions.
Si mueren los corales, muere el ecosistema que vive en los corales, toda la vida marina. Hola. ¿Habla bien el español?
Un poco.
To do this in Havana allowed me to see how the Cubans treat their environment when they're underwater, and I can say that the respect is can't be understated here.
I felt it before.
I was still a little shocked that the coral diversity was on the lower end. There wasn't a lot of big, huge corals, and that's still kind of a clear indicator of climate change having its way with this reef. So it's climate change in real time. These are environments that actually show you very quickly when they're under stress. And I think we live in a terrestrial bubble where it can be hard to think in terms of year to year for temperature, for precipitation. But if I go on a reef, if I go on this, on a reef like this, a year after visiting it, there's a high likelihood that more reef, perhaps not in Havana, but in other areas, will be dead.
In a country that lacks ample access to medical supplies, a culture has emerged that prioritizes healthcare education and the inventive use of the island's natural resources.
Dr. Rodobaldo Pedroso and Dr. Rafael Chimito Gonzalez have gotten to know each other pretty well. They're the only two doctors in Las Terrazas, an eco-community and biosphere reserve, located about 50 miles outside of Havana with a population around 1,200. Dr. Pedroso has lived here for more than 30 years, so he knows the other residents pretty well too. But the personal attention he gives them isn't the only unique aspect of medicine at Las Terrazas. Here, the doctors rely heavily on medicinal plants grown on site to treat a variety of illnesses.
I know any of the plants behind you are poisonous. But we can use them in a certain way, just you have to find out how we can use them. But we have to wait, we have to make research, we have to study.
Tipo respiratorio o resfriados de tipo digestivo.
The turpentine tree, nicknamed the tourist for its red, peelable bark, is one such plant. Its bark is boiled in water, which the people drink to cure colds, and its leaves are ground up to treat rashes on the skin.
It's the one we use the most in our homes.
No existen industrias que elaboren la medicina a partir de la masa.
We don't have industries that prepare any medication using this turpentine tree. It's just in our homes. We know it because our ancestors and we know how to use it.
In Cuba, plant-based medicine is much more than just something that people practice in their homes. Since 2009, the Cuban government has been putting resources into furthering research into the field.
Okay, so we have in Cuba a group of scientists that they made research about it, biotechnology. They are in charge through many people about making research for the new plants and the use of those plants, how they can use it. Then they take the list of those plants and send it to hospitals or to clinics where they can use them.
Que la cual la usamos principalmente en las enfermedades de la piel.
Cubans utilize many different plants for their medicine. The leaves of the guava plant treat rashes, oregano can be used to help with anxiety and stress, and mint can be used to ease digestive problems.
You made infusion. And the way for making infusion is you cannot boil the plant, you just boil the water, and after 3 minutes boiling the water, you turn off the fire, add the leaves, and cover it for maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then you drain the infusion. With salt or with sugars, depend. But it's really nice.
Idalmis Perez is a tour guide at Las Terrazas. She's one of many residents in the community who relies on traditional medicine on a day-to-day basis.
That one here, this is Marilope. Marilope is very good as well for the skin problems. Marilope, that one with the yellow flowers. Everywhere you walk around, you have a plant that you can use.
She points out anise, a leafy plant used to purify the blood and treat diabetes.
They have a beautiful heart shape, the leaf, but when you crush a little bit the leaf, you can smell it.
The people of Las Terrazas are surrounded by natural resources, as beautiful as they are useful.
I see just nature and medicine and infusions. I see everything because it's the most we got here. It's beautiful.
Cubans who live in the city and can't grow their own plants turn to organic farms like this one, run by Isis Salcines, an organic farmer.
Then here we're growing many kind of medicinal plants. The most popular, there are many, have different functions. Remember that the Cuba, when they collapsed the Soviet Union, many things disappeared and the pills disappeared too. And many of the doctors have to rescue to the natural medicine. Here we're growing oregano, that is aromatic plant, but it's a very good antibacterial crop. Here the Cuban use a lot of oregano for prepare, when you have cough or sore throat, you fry the leaves and it's very popular. Aloe vera is so popular too. The basil is for spiritual, but it's so good for medicinal.
Salcines even has an entire section set up on the farm exclusively for plants with medicinal and spiritual purposes.
This is a place that we sell aromatic, medicinal, and spiritual plants. When I talk about the spiritual plant, in Cuba, many persons practice Afro-Cuban religion, Santeria. For example, the basil is one of the plants that you can use for clean your body. You have to make like this. If you want to know more, go to Google.
But the cultivation of medicinal plants is not limited to just one area. Fields of parsley, basil, and mint can be found elsewhere on the sprawling farm. Moringa, called the drumstick tree in English, is perhaps the most common medicinal plant in Cuba. It grows rapidly and is used to treat a variety of ailments such as fevers, muscle pains, liver inflammation, and even tumors.
Look the seed. The seed is very good too. The people take like pills, swallow because it's... Existen now in Cuba, we have in a pharmacy in Vedado, that start to sell moringa dry, moringa with the leaves, moringa in the seed, have a very nice face because they have a very nice packet with the sign and have the promotion today in the TV talk about the moringa.
From developments and research to television ads, plant-based medicine is gaining sophistication here in Cuba. And in order for the island's renowned healthcare system to thrive, that will have to continue. Reporting from Havana, Cuba, I'm Seamus McAvoy.
Cuba is an island filled with incredible people and stories. These are just a handful of them. For a more in-depth look at our work, be sure to check out our online magazine. Reporting for Northeastern University, I'm Jonathan Mejia.